Hi, welcome back to Figure It Out. Well, the movie's not here yet, but McFarlane Toys has released the new action figures from Avatar: The Way of Water. So let's take a look. All right, well, before we get started, I just want to let you guys know of a financial decision that I made regarding this Wave 2 of figures that have just come out. So in Wave 2, they re-released some figures for this new movie. They re-released the Jake Sully figure, they re-released the Natari figure, and they re-released this amp suit. Now for Jake and Natari, they did add a lot more detail to them. So they changed the chest plates, they changed the arm guards, they changed even the hairstyles. They also gave Jake a gun. They redid Natari's bow. So you can see these side-by-side comparisons here in the video. The new Jake figures and the new Natari figures are, I believe, better. But for me personally, not enough to go ahead and drop the extra cash to get a figure that is the same sculpt with just some additional details. So I did not get those, and so we're not going to be looking at that unboxing in this particular video, just because they're so similar and we kind of already looked at those in the last video. Same thing with the amp suit. The new amp suit comes with what looks like a flamethrower type weapon, but it still has the same build. It's the same, has the same Bowie knife or giant knife that the amp suit can carry. It's just the weapon is different. And so I apologize to any who are looking to see what those look like, but you can go back in the first video and see most of that. I hope you guys understand my decision in that. All right, so this is Tonawari, and apparently in the movie he is, and this is, could be wrong, but the Navi of the Water chieftain, I believe in the plot they're going to need to get his help in order to defeat the invaders. But you can see from the box we do have just the window with the figure in it. On the back we have some posed art, and again they're highlighting the fact that the black light comes into play with these toys as well. So that's Tonawari. We do have, it's the Set Ops crab suit, the Set Ops crab suit, and so this obviously can have a rider that goes inside it. This looks super cool. This is considered a mega fig. We do have a ton of little posed art for this as well, so anxious to get that one out of the box. And last but not least, we do have the Skimwing, and it's so big I'm gonna have to back up a little bit, but like the other rideable action figures that we had from the last video, this one is massively big and it looks super cool. This one obviously is an animal that goes in the water, so we're going to take a look at what this Skimwing looks like. We've seen it in the previews, how it kind of like a flying fish will jump out of water and how the Navi will ride them. So let's take a look at the Skimwing. The back of the box, we do have some additional pose art as well, which looks super cool. And again, they're doing some highlight of the fact that there is some black light. We'll do that here in a minute. All right, now that we have Tonawari out of the box, there are some significant differences between this figure and the original Jake Sully figure that I have in my collection. Looking at the details, this one feels much more detailed than what the original was. And I gotta say, I mean, I'm really pleased with it. So it does come with this cloak. It is glued on in the back, but you can kind of move it around quite a bit. The texture is really nice on that. The hair texture looks really good. So if we can get a little zoom on that to see what that looks like. Really cool. So obviously this particular guy comes from a different area of the planet because he has some fin-like structures that make it look like he swims a little better. So he's got these kind of odd fins that come off of his forearms. He's got these fins that come off the back of his legs to give him some little thicker ankle looking. His tail is significantly thicker and flatter, so it looks like, yeah, to go through the water. He also comes with this staff, or maybe a double-sided spear. It looks like it's got blades on both ends, which, being as they are warriors, that looks like that's pretty cool. He does not come with additional hands like we had in the first grouping of action figures, but he is very articulated when it comes to all the different ways that we can rotate mid-bicep. He's got the double joints on the arms. The wrists are the same, they're jointed as well. Butterfly joints on the shoulders. We've got significant articulation with the legs, double joints on the knees, the ankles, the toe joints, all the above. Looks like we'll be able to put Tonawari in a lot of different poses. The detail on this one, I think, is pretty substantial. It is much more detailed than what we had in the first little offering. Even as we look at the face sculpt, which I have not seen the movie, so I don't know how close this is, but even the detail on all the tattoos that are on his face, that's really cool. We see some on his little chest plate. We do see some what looks like scales, so that's neat. The loincloth is much more detailed than what we got with the original offerings from the first movie. So all in all, I'm really thrilled with what this action figure looks like. The only weird thing that I've got going on with mine, and I'd be interested to hear from you guys if that's happening from you, is his ankles get a little this one ankle in particular is rocking in a bit more than what I'm comfortable with, and so as I'm putting him in a stand or a stance, I'm having a little bit of difficulty making that ankle, and I'm wondering if it's this extra plastic from this fin that's coming off that's making it hard for his foot to stay straight, but his foot is angling in just a little bit. He also comes with a knife that is quite a bit more detailed than what we had before, so let's get a zoom in on that. So you can see there's a lot of details on the blade. Let me put him up next to Jake from before. You can see some other differences. First of all, our original figure, Jake, is colored a bit brighter. This particular, when we're looking at Tonawari, his particular coloration is a little bit more aqua than it is bright blue, like what Jake is. He's also a little bit taller, and I'm interested to see in the movie if he is a taller Navi or if they've just kind of beefed up this figure a little bit for whatever reason. But you can definitely see the differences in height and some of the details that you get with the newer figures. Like I said, get the newer figure. I mean, it seems like that the newer ones, they've added enough to them to where it's definitely worth the buy, and I may get those eventually. But anyway, so Tonawari, let's take a look at the crab suit. All right, now we've got the crab suit, the Set Ops crab suit out of the box, and this thing is a ton of fun. There is a lot of detail to it, and there's a lot of articulation to it. Every one of these legs that you have, it bend a number of different ways. It's got these hands or claws. It's definitely a sea exploration vehicle is what it looks like. The legs can kind of fold up underneath it to where it looks like it can glide through the water. It has this turbine on the back, and the blades do rotate in that turbine, which is pretty cool. As far as the details are concerned, it's got some nice detail on the top. You can see that there is on the arms as well as on parts of the top. It's got these metal brush strokes in the paint. You can see it probably best on this turbine. You see these metal brush strokes here. Adds a lot of character, takes it from being too flat into something that looks like it's seen some action. So you can see that on the front and on the arms. It's got these brush strokes on there. That's really cool. Kind of the coolest part about it is it has this kind of opening at the top. I pop this open. Has this hatch on the top so that you can get a figure, or at least access a figure. But then it also has, and I'm sure this is true to the movie, it has to where this entire part comes up. So just to back that up so you can see it, it's got this part that comes up too. And I mean, this is really cool. This is really cool when you get up close and personal to it. This part right here, this whole access point to the inside is really awesome. Which kind of leads me to maybe an omission in this next wave of action figures is we don't have another little smaller 3.5 inch figure other than what we got from the first movie, which was this Colonel Miles figure that we have, which is currently in my amp suit. Man, I feel like we need another one of these guys. And sure, I can go out and buy another Colonel Miles, but then they all kind of look the same. Man, give me a soldier. Give me somebody that I can stick in this crab suit, because rather than having to have him share some time, because this thing is really awesome. So I could get him in a kind of a lying down position with his legs sticking toward the back. But again, I would love to have maybe another little soldier that I could fit in here so I could have Colonel Miles in the original amp suit. But don't get me wrong, this thing is crazy cool. It is really neat. And as far as vehicles are concerned, man, we just don't get enough vehicles for these figures. So I'm very excited to have this. Thanks, McFarlane, for putting out another vehicle for us to have some fun with. All right, well, the last offering I have for you in this video is going to be the Skimwing, which is the rideable, let's call it a water dragon. This thing is so big I've had to move my camera back yet again so that we can get it in full detail on the camera. And so as we take a look, there are some differences between this and the Banshees that came out with the first wave. For one, the wings on this one don't have middle of the wing articulation like the Banshees did. So they had some breaks here and you can kind of move it around. These wings do move up and down, but that's as far as the articulation is concerned. They just kind of move this direction, but they don't bend in the middle, which I don't know if that's altogether necessary. I think it's fine. I kind of really dig the structure of these wings though. It feels very fin-like, if that makes sense. Like, it's hard to explain, but there's all these ridges in it. It has a lot of nice texture, and then it has these spikes coming off the ends, which it's very reminiscent of a fin, which makes sense. Obviously, this is a water creature, and so probably in the movie, likewise, it does have articulation in some of these secondary fins, both here on the tail and then underneath. There are a couple here. What this does come with that the others did not is an articulated jaw, so we can open or close the mouth. What was interesting about the Banshees in my first video is that I did have someone from McFarlane Toys, a designer, pop on and told me that they made an executive decision to not have the jaw hinged on the Banshees because they wanted to be able to rotate the heads, and so it would have caused issues in design to open and close the jaws. So this head on this particular figure does not move around like it does on the Banshee, but what we do have is we have the ability to open and close the mouth, which is actually pretty cool. So my thanks to McFarlane Toys for jumping on and giving the explanation as to why the Banshees didn't have that articulation, but we can see here that this one does, and it is really pretty cool. So man, the colors on this thing are so vibrant and are so cool. I would suggest that with the Banshees and with this Skimwing, that man, to make these a part of your collection, they're certainly worth the money. It does, like the Banshees, it does come with a stand. The stand is similar to what those are. It's this ball stand here, and so let's go ahead and put this guy on there, and let's put Tonawari on there and see if we can get some poses. Okay, now that we have put him on here, this thing looks even better. So the posability, once I got him on the stand, is even better because we can see how we can move this tail up and down. We can put the jaw up and down. The wings we can get to move into different configurations, as it looks like he is carving it through up and out of the water. So we can get some angle on here if we want to, which looks pretty cool. So man, Tonawari on this thing looks really cool. So I'm really digging this Skimwing. In fact, of the things in this new collection, in this new wave, this may be my favorite. I think before I like the amp suit and kind of the militaristic vibe that gave, but as big as this thing is and as cool as this is, I mean, I really like how we can move it around on this. So just like we did with the first wave, let's go ahead and put these guys under a black light and see what they look like, since that's part of Pandora and part of this McFarlane toy line. All right, well, I can tell you right away that this Skimwing looks way cooler than any of the other ones do on the black light. Its tail, and again, my camera is not doing a great job of really showing it. It kind of is washing it out a little bit, like it's too intense. But man, the wings just pop so great. They're these gold wings. It's got these really cool spots down the spine that look amazing under the black light. This Skimwing's face lights up quite a bit. So unfortunately my black light is super direct, which you're just not able to see what I can see on the video, but it is absolutely really fantastically cool. Man, even Tonawari's face, he has got way more black light stuff going on than what Jake and Natiri do. All right, well, there you have it. We have our new Skimwing. We've got Tonawari and the crab suit. Let me tell you, you guys are not going to regret adding these to your collection, especially the Skimwing, which is just absolutely fantastic. I really do like the figure as well. The crab suit is phenomenal. So this whole line, the Wave 1 and now Wave 2, has been exceptional. So if you like the movie, you'll love the figures. Trust me on that one. But I'm really anxious for this movie to come out. Can't wait to see it. For those of you that aren't real pleased that I didn't get the new Jake Sully or the new Natiri action figures, or even the new amp suit with the flamethrower, they were just so similar to what I already have that it was just a decision I made. However, if I were you, I would get the new ones. If you haven't bought the old ones, get the new ones, because it seems like they've added enough detail to those that they'd be a lot of fun to have in your collection. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching Figure It Out. Thanks for being a part of what we're doing on this channel. If you've liked the video, please subscribe, please hit the like button, and we'll see you next time on Figure It Out.